Hey guys, Levin Freeman here again. Today we're playing some more Hearts of Iron 4 Kaiserreich mod. And I guess, I was gonna do Egypt. Someone asked for Egypt, and then I didn't have my mic plugged in, so that was unfortunate, wasn't it? But I guess I'll go and I'll play the fucking Egyptians again, so we can have like a proper series. I don't know, like my personal opinion. If you guys were wondering, not that you guys give a shit at all. My personal opinion is the Middle East is like not that great of an area to play. It doesn't fit my play style. Uh, yeah, but we'll do it anyway. So I'm going to go with this balanced playset here. And that's going to give us 3 strength on Germany. And ensure all their puppets stay loyal and align Poland with them. And then do status quo for a bunch of other stuff. Kind of maintain the teams the way they are and give them Poland. Make sure there's no flips. And that should prevent Germany from just dying. And I don't think that'll help us all that much. I think we're not syndicalists, but we're kind of, we're taking their cash. You know. We're simping for the Cindies. We're a bunch of Cindy simps over here in Egypt. That's the way it should go. It's like, let's lock in there. So Middle East, like there's a bunch of mini games. Like you have to play as the Ottomans. Like if you saw my Jabal Shamar play through, that was basically like a Koya novel, and there wasn't too much to do. And like Egypt has like this whole focus tree over here, and like kind of like all this shit kind of depends on how things go. Like, last time I won that Chiropact war there, and I was like, UAB just straight up killed French republics. We couldn't do any of this, and like Iraq, the situation in Iraq didn't turn out. We couldn't do this. So it's like Japan. It kind of reminds me of Japan. You have that tree, but you can't really pick the path you want because it's based on the AI's decisions or how the situation plays out in the game. So that's a bit of a piss off. And you guys know how I feel about decision mini games, and the Ottoman Empire is like one giant decision mini game, and it's got reconstructions. Like the Middle East rework pretty much incorporates everything I hate about Kaiserreich, and what I think is like making the mod not very fun to play in this region. But I will suffer through an Egypt playthrough for you guys. So Egypt, we broke away from Britain. We got decolonized, and now we want to decolonize even further, but at the same time, we want to colonize Syria ourselves or something like that. I don't know. Also, Arab nationalism. That's Egypt in a nutshell, I guess. So if you watched the last episode, we went for kind of a meme strategy where we built up our navy, which was I should have built new ships and not retrofitted the destroyers. I think that took too much production. And also, Egypt really has too large of a steel deficit to build any good ships, I found, much to my annoyance. But we were able to, in any case, maintain control of the Mediterranean. And in that playthrough, if you watch it, it's still on the channel, even though there's no voice on it. We memed the Ottomans. We invaded over here. We took Constantinople from them, and we kind of held this line over here in the mountains and like behind these rivers. So we took that. And then we were kind of in this odd spot where all of our allies were dead. We were pushed back to Suez, but we also controlled Constantinople and Adrianople, and a lot of the Ottomans' good territory over here were in Egyptian hands, and we had the naval supremacy. So that was a longer game, and because we took this land off the Ottomans, we had more factories than them, and we had more manpower than them, and basically they just ground into us across the Suez and into this mountain range until they had no manpower or equipment left, and we just killed them. Which is not usually how you want to do it as Egypt. Like that's kind of like a role reversal. Like normally Ottoman has like better industry and stuff, and you're trying to speed run them. So it was an interesting game to play, but it took way too long, I think, to win that war using that method. So we'll try something else. Like the standard way you usually win is Egypt, or before the rework, anyways. Like I'm not too sure. I haven't played it enough to know. But what we used to do is you would build a port here, but now they've added one for you, which is, I guess, it's Port Sudan should have a port, I guess. I don't know. It's in the fucking name, isn't it, boys? So you would build a port at Port Sudan, and when the Second Weltkrieg starts, you would send your guys over to Yemen when they join the Cairo Pact. You'd use your fleet to escort them into Yemen. And once you're in there, you'd have the Suez blocked off. You had your army in Yemen, and you can link up with the Arabians and just encircle and kill the Ottoman army in the desert. And that was usually like the easiest way to win. Another thing you could do too is if you built Marines, you could force Suez. You could get like a Marine division, throw a tank in there, and you could break through on the Suez with that. That's not really going to happen this time, though, I think, because they give you the cyanide for free. So you'd be able to, you get the cyanide for free, so like you're already across that, and like you're more concerned with this choke. So if you needed to break through this choke, probably you'd want Mountaineers instead of Marines. And you get a few tiles over here, but like you're really looking to link up with the Arabians, so you're gonna have to break this. Their mountain tiles for the most part. Also, there's a lot of mountains in Anatolia. So like that's like the usual strategy you would try to pursue as a Sultanate of Egypt. That's probably the best ones, you know, in my opinion, in my experience. But you know what does that matter? One thing I did learn from the previous Egypt playthrough, though, that's like pretty fucking important, is that you do not get a decision or a focus that triggers that war anymore. Like this is all just, I don't even know if it matters if you do this stuff. You know, I think this gives you the unrest, and of course the unrest is linked to the revolutions you have. But you get an event about some bullshit happens in Jerusalem, and that triggers the war for you. So even though you're the aggressor, you don't get to pull the trigger. It's pulled by event, which is like complete bullshit. So if you're doing a blind playthrough, you're not going to know when the war is going to happen. You might not have your guys on the border. There might be training. There might be some other things going on there, and you just get you know, guess you're at fucking war now. Sorry about your luck, right? So like that's a bit bullshit too. Like I don't know. Wasn't a fan. Not a good change in my opinion. They should let you pick the time that you start the war if you're supposed to be the aggressor. There is an option to decline that event, though. You know, although I'm not sure, you know, what that would entail. It seems bad to delay the war even longer, even if you're not ready. Especially if it gives the Ottomans the Suez. So just be aware about that if you're playing this country. So overview. We're led by Fuad 1 over here, who's like gonna die soon probably. He's like Alexander Kerensky. We have the agrarian economy, so our people hate industry and shit. Our economy is underdeveloped and largely agrarian in nature. Though some industrialization has begun, has yet to truly affect the country. Major reforms are needed to get over this hurdle. Oh, reforms, I see. So you get a pretty crippling national spirit here. It's like Black Monday all the time in Egypt. Also, you do get hit by Black Monday as well, FYI. Our populace is illiterate and can't read. So there you go. The vast majority of Egypt's rural populace is illiterate. In order to rectify this hurdle, a program of education reform must be undertaken. Like, man, the reforms are really piling up, aren't they? Also, our military has no idea what they're doing, and you know they can't tell which end of their gun the bullets come out of. The Egyptian officer corps is rather inexperienced, as the British and Ottomans wished to make sure they did not grow to be powerful. Many are still used to ways, or when you're still used to ways of fighting from before the Weltkrieg, which is hampering the army. If we're going to make Egypt a modern country, we shall need to do some proper reforms of the army. You know, again with the reforms. Land owning elites, daily political power. It's like that's nice to get that. We get some resources, and we're going to get hit again by consumer factories debuff and stability gone. The vast majority of Egypt's land belongs to land-owning elites and nobles, with less than 6% of Egypt's populace owning over 65% of her land. In quite a number of these estates, conditions are likened to that of the Iqta system of old. Like, I don't know. I mean, it makes sense that the rich people own the land, right? I mean, like, that's how they bought it, because they were rich. And then because they own the land, they can charge rent, and they get even more rich. Like, that seems like the natural order of things. But I guess if you're in Egypt, that gives you a debuff. So we are the Hizb al-Watani over here. So we are going to be SOCON, and we have 35% party popularity. So, like, that's nice, I guess. Occupied territories. We are occupying Sudan, and they are not resisting. We'll just change this to like our Sapahis template over here. And while we're at it, let's also change so I don't forget. I'll go to the local police force. Local police force is, of course, like probably the best garrison law if you can get away with it. Like, you really want to avoid using these harsher laws to lower resistance. They give you like it'll lower the target, but you also hurt your compliance more. But the big kind of deal breaker is that local police force will give you less damage to your garrisons by 50%, and it'll also gives you required garrisons minus 65%. So even if you take the extra damage, this will help mitigate that. And you know, having to have 65% less garrisons is a considerable boost to your manpower. So like that's why, like even if your resistance is getting a little bit high, switching off local police force sometimes is a bit costly. So keep that in mind. Now there are a lot of resistance mechanics in a lot of the new parts of the world, aren't there? Indeed. All right, so we're live. We're in volunteer only. We have 200,000 manpower about. It's like that's not too bad. We have export focus, and when we look at our trade here, you see we don't really have very many resources at all. It's like export focus is like even free trade would probably be pretty good for us. And civilian economy, so we're on toasters. Like that kind of sucks, doesn't it? But it's also pretty standard. We have Ali Maher, political power gain. Hussein Seri, political power gain and trade deal opinion factor. Resource gain efficiency, which is pretty worthless given our resource situation, and political power gain and stability. Military staff, we are missing quite a few of these. We got psychology, we got defense, we got mass combat. I got decisive battle, elastic defense, guns and butter. So I mean, you get like some of the good ones, but you're missing the armor ones, which is like pretty harsh. I think you also don't get static defense. You can't get the negative attrition, which would be nice when you're fighting in all these deserts, wouldn't it? Chief of Navy, you have open seas or indirect approach. Air, you have air superiority or battlefield support. So again, like you don't have all of them available. And then you have like these unique companies, but they're like actually pretty bad. And you don't have access to actually pick any of these until you've done some sort of bullshit focus. So I don't know. I don't know why Egypt doesn't. I guess because of their industrial situation or something. But even like these aren't that great companies, and they're focus locks. Like right away, that's like some bullshit. That sucks both my balls. That's fucking awful. But yeah, like these are like pretty generic. Pretty generic. Even though they have the symbols, the effects they give you aren't that interesting, and they're not that strong. You do get the 10% industry company instead of the 5% one. So I mean that's nice. And you need civilian investments to get that. So that's probably something you might want to take if you're into civilian investments. Wouldn't it? Decisions, we just have the usual fixers for now. Intelligence agency, don't have one, can't afford one. Research slots, you get 3. Tech tree, so you've got basic guns. That's it. You've got engineers. You have no tank technology. You have basic artillery. You have no land doctrine, and if you look on your focus tree, your choices are going to be grand battle plan or mobile warfare. So 10 guesses which one we're picking, right, boys? Ships. So you do start with smoke generators, which is interesting. Not a whole lot of people get that. And you have the 1936 cruisers, light ships, and you have the mines. That's about it. You do not have transport tech. So if you do want to do the meme naval strategy, you will need to be doing some research. And you have the level 1 interwar guns. Naval doctrine, you don't have any. And if you look on your focus tree, you can get a choice between trade interdiction or fleet and being. Again, you don't have to take those ones, but you waste your focuses if you do. So it's not usually optimal to pick off, but sometimes you might want to. Planes, you just have interwar. Air doctrine, you don't have any, and you have a choice between strategic destruction and battlefield support. Engineering, you don't have anything, and industry, you don't have anything. Diplomacy, you do not have any treaties, and you have some people who like you and some people who don't based off of your ideology. Trade, resource situation is pretty dire. We have token amounts of tungsten, steel, and oil. Construction, we have 3 civilian factories to work with, and we'll just, I guess, build some more civilian factories in Alexandria. And production, I think we'll just go off this, and we're just going to build rifles, I think, for the time being. Recruit and deploy, so our templates. We have Al-Mushadi infantry, 18 with infantry. We have Sipahis, 12 with cavalry. We have the Camel Corps, 12 with camel. Al-Militia, 18 with militia. And we have the Al-Mushadi garrison, which is 12 width that has your artillery on it. So why they put the artillery on the 12 width and not the 18 width, I don't know. But this isn't the only country that has that, but it's weird and I don't like it. Logistics, we have 50 convoys and 6 rifles in storage. Like that's not going to do practically nothing. So we're making 1.99 political power per day, which is pretty good. We have 35% party popularity, which is that's kind of like average-ish. You don't really have a majority. 59% stability, which is pretty good. 50% more support, which is average. Your manpower is pretty good for a regional. Egypt tends to be more industrial limited than manpower limited. 13 factories, of which 3 are military, 1 is a dockyard, and 9 are civies. And we have a little bit of oil, and our stockpile is pretty tiny, only 53.3k, 50 convoys, and like the usual zeros for this shit. So research is like right away you want to be getting your Kar 98k. Basic infantry equipment, guys, it's so bad. It's so bad. You don't want that at all, and we're going to go and we're going to get our basic machine tools to help us out with our production efficiency, and we'll use this slot to bump our gun so we can switch over faster. Navy, we do have the Royal Egyptian Fleet here. So we have 3 cruisers, and these are revived armored cruisers, unfortunately. So like they're not the proper heavy haul. They're like the in between a cruiser and a heavy haul. But they have a very high range. But otherwise, like all level 1 shit except for the level 2 armor module, which is nice. But they're still like not exactly. You're not really too excited about having these as your only capital ships. I'll tell you that. They are very underpowered with their engine. You see, they have the medium ship engine, cruiser engine, and that means they're slow. And if you're slow, and you're gonna have and you have high detection because you have the visibility from your heavy ship armor. So your visibility is high and your speed is low, which means you have a very high hit profile, which means it's really easy for other capital ships to hit you. So like that's like these guys aren't like the best in combat. We got 2 escort cruisers. One is an improved variant, and one's a Weltkrieg variant. And we're not going to play naval this game, really. Like this is a nice cruiser to have. It's got the level 2 stuff across the board, except for the torpedo launcher. The Weltkrieg one is much less exciting. And then you got some Weltkrieg ships for your destroyers. So that's your Navy. We played Navy. Unfortunately, there was no mic for that. I wouldn't recommend a naval strategy as Egypt anyways. Like, it kind of sucked both my... I say that too much. It wasn't great. It wasn't great. Air, we have 25 like old obsolete fighters. So there's that in our army. The boys. All right, so you got 2 units of cavalry, 4 units of infantry, 2 units of militia, 1 unit of the garrison with the artillery, and 1 unit of camels. That's your army. So not the worst starting army, not the best starting army. You get a lot of 12-width units, but you do get 4 decent-sized ones. Like that's not too bad. And that's I think about it for like the stuff that I usually go over. I have had a few drinks today, so I mean, maybe I'll forget something. Who knows? Let's go ahead and get her started then. The Sultanate of Egypt. The history of modern Egypt eventually began in 1882 when Egypt joined the British Empire. British sphere of influence in the region, a situation that conflicted with Egypt's de jure position as part of the Ottoman Empire. In 1914, the Protectorate was made official, and the title of head of state, which had changed from Pasha to Khedive in 1897, was again changed to Sultan. This formally repudiated the vestigial suzerainty of the Ottoman Sultan in Constantinople, who was backing the Central Powers in the Weltkrieg. Abbas II was deposed by the British and replaced as Sultan by his uncle, Hussein Kamil. Upon his death in 1917, his only son, Prince Kamal al-Din Hussein, declined his succession, and Hussein Kamil's brother, Ahmed Fuad, ascended the throne as Fuad I. With the ratification of the peace with honor, Egypt remained part of a now weakened British sphere. This would increase anger within the Egyptian populace that exploded in violence in 1925 during the collapse of the British Empire. This would become known as the Egyptian Revolution, where Fuad I proved his legitimacy by leading the people in the revolution. The revolution was largely nationalistic in nature, uniting Egyptians of all social classes, faiths, and occupations together to rid Egypt of the foreign British once and for all. In the chaos of the revolution, an internal coalition, primarily led by Britain and Germany, seized the Suez Canal, which Egypt was forced to accept in order to avoid an open conflict with the former Central Powers. Since the revolution, there has been a conflict between liberals that seek to go further and make the monarchy a true constitutional monarchy, and the conservatives that wish to keep the status quo. Moreover, as 1936 arrived, the Sultanate's eyes go increasingly upon the young Farouk, the heir to the throne, whom is being groomed for the throne. With the decline of the Ottoman Empire, members of all political parties began to wonder and plan of restoring the might of Egypt and dreaming of an Ottoman-free Middle East. We shall be masters of our own destiny. That's probably true, I guess. Well, there goes Karansky. Yeah, Ferangel in charge. Questions of Egyptian identity. When the Egyptian Revolution of 1925 happened, questions started to emerge, asking what does it mean to be Egyptian? When was Egypt great? For it was the first time in centuries that we are free and independent, and we are now able to properly ask these questions. Thus, two concepts of what it means to be Egyptian have formed looking back on the past with Romanticism, though through radically different periods of Egyptian history. The first camp is known as Pharaonism. They look to the pre-Islamic past, to the days of the pharaohs, for a time when Egypt was truly great and powerful. They argue that Egypt is a Mediterranean civilization and stress the role of Mediterranean Sea within Egyptian culture, though they do not neglect the Nile. Largely it aligns with the liberal parties, through strictly speaking it is not liberal. Even some of the Watani support it. It is by far the most influential form of identity in Egypt in 1936. The second cultural movement is the Islamist movement that arose as a counter to the more mainstream Pharaonism. They answer the question as to when Egypt was great by looking at the Fatimid Caliphate and the Ayyubid dynasty. Instead of the pharaohs, whom they decry as pagan and absolute tyrants, they look back to the time when Egypt was the center of the Islamic world, when a multi-ethnic and tolerant Egypt was able to dominate Islamic power. This cultural movement is more of a conservative counter to the more mainstream Pharaonism and is largely tied to conservative movements, particularly the Idiad Party. It should be noted that both camps support a multi-ethnic Egypt. Both Pharaonists and Islamists believe that Egypt has always been a multi-ethnic state. Both concepts are largely romantic nationalist in nature and have an impact on culture and arts. We are all Egyptians. I don't know. I learned from Afrocentrists the Egyptians were supposed to be black, though. So what about that? What's up with that? Also, I'm pretty sure back when Egypt was great was when the aliens were in charge. I mean, they built the pyramids, right? I learned that from Crazy Hair Guy on his TV show on History Channel. And TV wouldn't lie to us, right? So they should go with alien Egypt. Yeah, pyramid spaceships. Well, Edward III is in charge, or Edward the Eighth is in charge. Good for him, I guess. Oh, got it. All right, we'll go with Electromech. It just helps you get your gun out a little bit faster, and you get a few more days of production on guns that don't suck. You get to build efficiency. So I don't know if that's worth it. Maybe you just go and get rush the mechanical engineering instead, but I don't know. It's 30 days, doesn't really matter much. Today, Black Monday has hit Egypt, ruining the economy. The agricultural sector, particularly the cotton sector, was hit rather hard. The people are begging their representatives within the royal diet, as well as the Sultan, to do anything they can to resolve the crisis. May God save us, and you'll get fucked even harder. Oof, double dip on that Black Monday. And I guess we have I forgot to mention National Focus Tree Review. That is, I forgot the National Focus Tree Review. What was I thinking? Okay. So, National Focus Tree. So you got your Black Monday Recovery Tree. You can't pick any focuses until Black Monday hits. And you got to do this thing first over here. And once Farouk starts doing his reforms, you're going to unlock the rest of these trees here. Army, Navy, Aviation, and Economy. And when a certain time, January 1st, 1938 rolls around, you can start doing things to troll the Ottomans. And then after you've beat the Cairo Pact, you'll have a choice of doing this Victory in the Levant focus, which does your foreign policy. So Egypt was actually the first country I played in Kaiserreich. I didn't finish the campaign, but it was the first country I loaded into. So you're going to come down over here, you clear Black Monday, you get some factories, you get some stability, you get some political power. You clear your debuff, and then you get the Farouk's Reforms event. And if you come down here, this is how, if I remember correctly, this is how you're going to get rid of the, I think you get rid of illiterate populace through that tree, and you get rid of landowning elites through that tree. This will remove your developing economy spirit, and this one over here removes the inexperienced military spirit. I don't remember specifically what the rest of this stuff does though. You come down over here, and you finish your reforms, and you'll get your political path over here: liberal, conservative, or absolutist. Unfortunately, these are gated behind events. Like I don't remember specifically what effects they have. They do give you a choice though, and I remember each choice you pick, you'll have an option that will tie into one of these. So it is a bit of a koya. I remember it being pretty fucking obvious though. Like it's not too egregious like some of the newer ones. So you'll come down here and they'll give you choices. You'll pick whichever choice you want to get yourself on these paths. That's how it's supposed to work. Modernization program. You come down over here. You get some partial relief from your debuff over there. You get pretty early on. You get a bunch of factories. You unlock your companies. You get electronics. More factories. This will give you a recruitable population and consumer goods buff. You unlock more factories and dockyards and stuff. You get some resources, political power, electronics, extra research slot, industry boost, oil, infrastructure, more factories, air bases, resources, and this other stuff. So these are all like some of these are 35 here on Farouk's reforms. A lot of these are 50, or a lot of these are 56. So some of them are 35, but a lot of them are 56. I think the army tree is like 42. So to clear these debuffs, it's going to take you a real long time. There's so many of these you have to go down before you can get down to removing this developing economy spirit over here. And like this is like all the way to the end of this tree over here. And I guess to get rid of your illiteracy, it's like you got to come like all the way down this tree too, right? But at the same time, you're also supposed to be doing the chiropac stuff and like your foreign policy stuff, right? So that's rough, isn't it? That's rough. Yeah, that's you're gonna be clicking focuses for a long time. It's one of those ones that's kind of like how National France was, where your focus tree is gonna last you for a pretty long time. You're never gonna get to the spot where you're like, great, now I can use construction engineering to prepare the infrastructure that I need to. No, it's like you're stuck in focus jail trying to clear debuffs. That's the way she goes. So Arab Congress. You get some decisions over here to give your allies a military factory and some guns. You get the Yemens over here. I think there's a couple other ones too. Yeah, this gives them to Syria. And this gives them to the more to Syria. And that gives it to Iraq. Or is it Syria or not? So I guess Syria gets a double dip on their support. And then you get to give some to Najd and Hijaz over here. And some of these also increase unrest. And if you remember, unrest cap is how you get... When we played Ottomans, the higher unrest you have, the more likely it is that these people will revolt. It's like that's how you influence it, by clicking these focuses. You get 2 dockyards. You get... this is the Idris event over here. You can support Idris to try and throw off the chains of Cyrenaica and join your team. These Cyrenaicans, like the most worthless ally I've ever had in Kaiserreich. Like all they do is like garrison their shit. They give you nothing. They won't let you request their forces. They won't join expeditions. They're like, it means very little if Idris joins your team. We'll put it that way. And this down over here, Operation Abu Lawar. This is Egyptian Pearl Harbor. So you pay some political power. You get to buy some naval bombers, and you can get that event where you torpedo a bunch of Ottoman ships and take them out of service for a while. I clicked this focus, and I don't know if that event actually even fired. We didn't get any feedback on it, so that was like extremely disappointing. I also didn't lose the naval bombers that you're supposed to from that event, I think. If you recall, as the Ottomans, like we got that event and said, well, we shot down a bunch of naval bombers and our troops were disabled. I would have thought the Egyptians would get a counterpart event that says, hey, our operation was successful, but we got nothing. I'm not sure what this does. Support Maghrebi rebels. I think this is the one to troll France, if I remember correctly. So that's your Chiropact tree. This Third Arab Congress is the one you fire to form the Chiropact in the first place. So after you've won, you have victory in the Levant. You'll get a decision to either annex Syria or create the Syrian Arabs. They get their own country. And you get different benefits. Like you actually clear these. These are 35 days. It is a compliance gated core, but you get like more than enough compliance. Like get compliance 20%, compliance 20%, compliance 10% here. You get like more than enough compliance. Like rolling them in is like actually not that difficult, I found. You get some stability, you lose some stability, you get some factories, you get a research slot. So that's nice, isn't it? This costs you a lot of stability to do, though. Now proclamation, this is like the war goal against Ethiopia. And I guess this lets you invite a bunch of people into your Cairo pack. So presumably this is how things like Madagascar and the Middle African drop-offs wind up in the Cairo pack. That would be my guess. I haven't taken that focus yet after the rework. Fourth Arab Congress. I think this is, if you do this is when you do your Arab nationalism tree over here, right? You should get a research slot, I would imagine. They give you a research slot over here. They not give you a research slot over here? I didn't pick this slot last time, so yeah. So one research slot over here. You get some industry bonuses. You get this pretty nice national spirit for construction speed for infrastructure and city factories. Excavation bonus, which is pretty worthless because of our research situation. And even more dockyards. But you give the Ottomans, you give the Ottoman Empire, add one off-map civilian factory. Okay, so I guess that's the trade part, and you get some infrastructure over here. Decolonization of the Maghreb. This gets you the war with France, and if Tripolitanius has to have done something for it to do this in the first place, and this gets you in the Finisterre, I think. Yeah, or it doesn't get you in, but it gets you some factories. And I'm not sure about this over here. I guess you can befriend Iran and go to war against Egypt. There's that. Army tree. You have choice in mobile warfare, grand battle plan. You get some experience and more support here. You get some pretty nice national spirits here for your cavalry. It'll give you a desert attack boost, and you also get cavalry attack and defense bonus over here. So if you have the infantry equipment to spare, you might as well make cavalry and take advantage of these bonuses. It's like not quite as good as Mongolia, but 10% is 10%. But this is also another very nice focus for 42 days. Gets you a motorized and mechanized research bonus, 2 bonuses for armor for 42 days, and it's pretty fast to get to. It's like that's a very nice focus to have. And this is a pretty nice national focus too, which gives you even more cavalry attack and defense, as well as base division speed, recovery rate, and attack. So very nice national spirits. Like your cav gets 25% boost. So again, it's not quite as good as Mongolia, but still pretty good. So like something like that cav cheese template we made. If you watch my Mad Bear in Mongolia playthrough, that kind of template would certainly be viable for Egypt. And if you come down the middle path over here, you get a research bonus for infantry weapons, and you unlock some companies. Light infantry desert training boost. Support tech, and this spirit over here, which gives you a recruitable population factor, damage to garrisons negative, and political power. So damage to garrisons to negative is pretty good if you're going to be occupying a lot of stuff, but you might not need this. Grand Battle Plan side, you get your doctrine research bonus, you get a nice chunk of army experience. Division org, planning speed, and max planning boost. Another research bonus for your doctrine over here. And you get an additional organization planning speed and max planning boost, plus another doctrine research. Of the two strategies, like tanks are pretty fucking good, and cavalry are like, these are nice buffs over here. Like, I don't know why you would ever pick this side of the tree. Yeah, I just don't know why you would ever do it. Like, this side seems like pretty clearly, hands down, going to be the better path. But it is what it is. Naval reforms, you get some doctrine, you get trade convoy production cost, and escort efficiency plus, which is very nice. Escort efficiency boost. It means you need less destroyers to escort your efficiency, or to escort your destroyers for trade and for whatever else you need to escort. More bonus for doctrine, 2 naval dockyards. So one of the things you'll notice is that Egypt can get a lot of dockyards. You get 2 dockyards here, you get 2 dockyards here, and you're going to get another 2 dockyards there. I think there's like a Red Sea ports over here. You get a dockyard over here too. So you can get like a lot of dockyards pretty fast in like the build-up phase if you do want to play a naval game. Like that's something you could definitely do, but like your steel is going to be your main issue. But you can get a lot of dockyards. You can build a lot of destroyers for submarines, for example, and that probably wouldn't be too bad. Like I said, I did try that in my other videos, so if you want to play a naval game, you could watch that. That build does need work though. You get trade interdiction or fleet and being, 200%. This is a 1/200% bonus, which is odd, but I mean, That's a steep bonus. You're going to get one real fast. This is 2 100%. And you get research bonuses for like Marines and cruisers and armored cruisers. And another doctrine bonus over there. It's like, whatever. You don't get like any sick national spirits for Navy, although the escort efficiency is nice. Aviation, like the aviation tree is like, you get 2 military factories here, which might be worth coming down this tree just to pick the 2 military factories. This is like, again, it's only 2 focuses to get that, which is something I might do in this game. You get air experience, you get air bases, your doctrine research is over here, and your fighter or tactical bomber. This is also an interesting one over here. It gives you anti-air, builds some anti-air, and gives you a research boost for anti-air. Then some air bases, airborne technology, and more doctrine. Like, air base focuses are like kind of mediocre. Air bases build really fast, and like it's pretty unlikely that the focus is going to give you an air base in the spot where you actually want the air base. So they're like a tax. I see them as usually rather than a benefit. And this fighter, the fighter is pretty far down here before you get this research boost. So same with the tactical bomber. So yeah. I would maybe like get the factories first, but like doing an air strategy as Egypt seems like it wouldn't be as great as doing a navy or tank based strategy, in my opinion. So that's the national focus tree. So keep going. Like not too much goes on at the beginning of the game until we can start sending volunteers, which is actually right now. So we do want to farm some of our generals over here. So I guess we'll just take like one of these Al-Mashadi infantry over here, and we'll just stick everyone else back in the one stack. And we'll go and we'll send some volunteers to the left Kuomintang. Yeah. Volunteers! I wonder if I should. They don't have an air base, like we can't send them air volunteers. It's not going to work out, is it? Uh-oh. It's not good. So what general do we want to farm? So we have like 2 kind of field marshals over here. Level 2 is not that great. They're both old guards and politically connected. It's like these guys are like never going to level up, basically. We have a couple guys, like, they have politically connected is not great. You don't want to have low experience gain. Infantry and Desert Fox. Like, probably want to pick one of these guys who has no traits. I think this was the person I used last time. Oh, let's go with him again, I guess. But this is a field marshal slot I'm at, so I could go with this person. And, this guy over here. I'll try and see if we can like learn like a terrain trait or something. For the 1 volunteers country, it is pretty hard. We'll just try and pin here so that we don't get cut off. I guess we'll try and like find a spot like where there's like a militia unit we can try and bully, or like where the AI is attacking into, we could stand on and get into the fight that way. And it's over. So like those wars, those early wars are like pretty volatile sometimes. And there'll be another war like again, usually, and we can send volunteers there. Quito's liberalism just couldn't cut it. Alright, so we got 100 political power, which means we're going to Bullet's economy. I mean, there are some hills there. We'll send some more volunteers out again. Try and farm the army experience. And like maybe we'd go for hill fighter. You can get there's hills over here. We can get hills in Spain. And so you got Brack Monday recovery. Like these both do the same thing. They're both just I think 3 stability. Alright. Aziz is that, and this guy. And Shan King gets a lot of these militia units. Like, look at that. It's a lot of guys. Let's stand in this tile. Alright. Today, tragic news hits Sultanate. Sultan Fuad is now dead. The people are in mourning. Now, though, the throne goes to the young 16-year-old Farouk, who will inherit the throne. He has been trained for the throne. Few know how he will govern. There's some Japanese dogs over here. Trying to intervene into the China. Unfortunately, the Japanese have guns that don't suck. As you can see, they're able to withstand our attack, even though they're infantry, because their guns are such garbage. And as a result, them having more attack than us means we will lose this fight. And that's why you need the Carabiner 98K. That's fortunate. So we did get you do get that research boost that you have to take for or fast, and you can't use it to rush. It's like that sucks. I think the Black Monday recovery gives you that. Probably not going to build tanks right away. Let's get the motorized, I guess. Or we might go cabin tanks, but like I don't want to waste it. We do get a motorized bonus. Or you know what? Now that I think about it, I would like to use that maybe for an industry buff, though. It's probably more important to build more guns. Like, let's not take that. It doesn't seem like a great plan. So like either get the truck or let's start in our tank tree. Like I'm not going to build trucks right away, but we will need to get up to like our actual tanks that don't suck. Alright, so we got cotton fields. Secure holdings. Let's make sure the volunteers like get the guns first. Got electromechanical engineering. Let's get our first mobile warfare doctrine. And we'll switch over to the carabiner. I think we'll also trade the 1 steel. We'd like to build rifles. We'll trade with the Frenchies. Progress Lake. Not learning anything. Hellfighter. 12 out of 700. It's tough to learn experience when you only have 1 unit, isn't it? Let's get our org back. Our production efficiency is quite bad. Let's do that, I guess. It's probably a better value for that than getting the level 1 concentrated industry. Oh, let's see. What if we walked into here? Get that. Get civilian factories and political power. I think let's just get civilian factories. Fortunately, that's a plains tile, and we want to be hitting hills tiles. So there's actually no point in us doing that, is there? Attack into that. So we should match up much better against these shitty Chinese units than the Japanese. Not only do they have shit equipment, they're probably not even 18 width. So get yourselves that alright, get a civilian factory, get yourselves another civilian factory, and we'll up our economy a lot. Our general got wounded. Oh, that's a hills tile. We can kill these Japanese. However, if it's worth it, we could start also sending send some volunteers to the left KMT. Help us grind a little bit faster. I mean, it won't really help us grind faster, but it'll let us grind a second general, I guess, and you'll get some more army experience. Oh, it's a plains tile. Want to do that? There's a hills tile that's being attacked. Alright, so we'll make these guys like that off, like a weird pink color that Shandong is, I guess. Like, hopefully we'll be able to grind this war for a while. Whatever, close enough, and these guys can be red. For the red commie bastards in the left KMT. Let's go with... This guy's already learned defense, so it's like that's not great. We'll try this other guy over here. Oh, Indochina declares independence. Latvia and Aldi flies across Egypt. Today, the young aviatrix Latvia Ainadi has made headlines in Egypt for winning an aviation competition where various aviators were to fly between Alexandria and Cairo and over the pyramids. Her victory has been hailed as a victory for women throughout Egypt, with the famous feminist Huda Shawari looking to help get Ainadi her own plane as she was flying with Egypt Air, and several women are looking to see if they can start to fly. It's a new age we live in, isn't it? I'll reopen the stock exchange. Like, this is actually pretty bad. I shouldn't be trying to win this war I'm throwing. There's a hills tile over there we can attack now, though. Well, that's nice. Like, of course, you want these wars to drag on, like, as long as possible. Alright, that works. Alright, so we're learning Hellfighter. Those guys are even encircled in like plain styles, which is not what we want. I'll stand there. Like, you see how the AI was like unable to complete that encirclement. Oh, I guess we got it now though. Get ourselves some planning bonus, I guess. Can't tell who's attacking who there. There's a hills tower we can stand in. Excellent. Got that. We'll do ditch Black Monday. Our tools, we'll get a concentrated industry. Another hills tower we can stand in. Oh, those are mountains. Like, Mountaineer would be a great trait to get, but it might be a little bit greedy. 1936 general election. Today is the long-awaited election for the Prime Minister of Egypt. This year's election is particularly tense, as it comes on the heels of the ascension of Farouk to the role of Sultan. The main four parties is before running their candidates, and the question is, whom shall the people elect to be the Prime Minister? And I think we're going to go with the WAFT party over here, the Market Liberal. The freer the markets, the freer the people. I think that's also supposed to be the Pharaoh route too, but I'm not entirely sure. Kulthum began singing for Radio Cairo. Today, the famous singer Kulthum began singing for Radio Cairo. This has helped boost the ratings of Radio Cairo as people tune to listen to her singing. Even the young Sultan has been enjoying her singing, and rumors persist of her singing for the royal family. Good music, I guess. Okay. Ash Shams founded. Today, the Jewish journalist Saad Malki has founded the newspaper Ash Shams to support the ideas of Egyptian nationalism. In particular, the newspaper has attracted the attention for its calls for Egypt to take control of Jerusalem and the Jewish Holy Land. Get a war sport from that, so that's cool, I guess. Alright, there goes Black Monday. So Black Monday's done, now we have to do Farouk's grand reforms. 10% to Hill Fighter. Oh, with Olsen. Oh, jeez. Yeah, I got encircled here, too. Oh, and Mustafa Kemal takes a bullet. Who does he think he is? President Kerensky? Come on. Those are a light to tank one. International Avant-Garde. I think now might be the time too, like we might want to get our spy agency. If we can invest in like getting some operatives and like doing ops. Farouk's grand reform. Today, Sultan Farouk has announced a reforming plan to bring Egypt into the modern age. His programs will cover nearly every aspect of Egyptian life, government, and society, Various ministers and courtiers are already planning on trying to influence and manipulate the young sultan to their advantage. Egypt shall be brought to the modern age. Okay, let's do that. Let's just get our spy agency out of the way. And then we're going to come over here. Like some military. I mean, that'd be alright, but like, I don't think we're going to rush. Well, that'll be useful for later, but for when the Kaiserreich War starts, you just need to get enough stuff in the field to actually do something. And the our industry will be key for that. So we'll go down the industrial path first. We also want to pick up the go down the air tree to pick up those military factories. Start getting some more equipment. Of course, the more of those you have, the more consumer goods tax you have to pay. Well, this is actually looking pretty bad for King here, isn't it? Oh, that's too long. Egypt celebrates Eid al-Fitr. During the reign of Muhammad Ali, he demanded that the whole of Egypt know when Ramadan ends. So to do this, he positioned a cannon to fire at the crack of dawn on the first day of Eid. Today, cannons can be heard throughout Egypt, from the cities to the countryside, as people prepare to celebrate the end of Ramadan. Eid Mubarak. We'll get 20 PP. And unfortunately, as Egypt, you don't really have all that much to spend your PP on. Let's actually go up to free trade. Of course, that's electrical Montan clay, so our volunteer to Shandong Clique can't do anything. Italian democracy survives, huh? Alright, so you got the Central Intelligence Directorate. Let's start getting your operative. Let's get... you need to do 5 upgrades to get the... you need to do 5 upgrades. To get the next operatives. Like, I guess we'll go ahead and do that. I mean, I don't think we're building our factories all that fast anyways, so... And like, our companies are all gated behind these focus decisions. We might want to get the construction one, though. We need civilian investments to do that. In terms of this stuff, like, this is like a pretty nice spirit to get the extra consumer goods over here. 2 civies over here too is also pretty important. If I remember correctly, you get about 7 focuses if you don't do the army tree that you can take before you have to start doing this stuff over here. If you want to hit all the stuff before the Kaiserreich War. You might want to do. Of course, you're not allowed to do this stuff if you're at war with the Ottomans. Or, Cybernic is not a subject, we can't even do this. So we'll see. We might be able to delay for a little bit. Of course, some of these focuses are like, pretty questionable. Maybe this Radio Free Palestine has something to do with when the agitation event starts. I'm not sure. It's like not really clear. We'll go with this is the guy we're working on. I'm not sure if this is... Well, geez, these guys do not have a lot of troops at all, do they? Alright, so we got the modernization program. There's a boost from industrial research beach. That's nice. Let's get the consumer goods factories 5% is pretty good. Go with that. Can we get the... Yes, let's recruit the head of intelligence. So do that. I think that cheapens the agency upgrades a little bit. Let's get the suicide pills. Is this just a walk? No, there's guys up there. Let's try standing in the hills tile. Go with our boy Mohammed. Stand in the hills tile there. And there's the standoff in America. That's some mountains. Looking for hills though. There's a hills tile we can fight in. And when we have 3 operatives, like you can chain run operations, like you can start infiltrating the Ottoman army. Maybe start stealing some blueprints. I don't know, we could try be cheeky with the spies and try and steal blueprints. Who would we need blueprint stealing. And it's probably civilian. Fortunately, we're standing in a forest tile, so that's not the greatest. American forces left the MOJ, and then there's Civil War II, Electric Boogaloo. Whoa. I guess it's a two-sided Civil War this game. That's rare. Improve relations with our boy Floyd here. Let's actually go for the blueprint stealing. I got it. It's a pretty memey strategy, but we'll go for it. So who should we try and steal from? Let's maybe shop around. We want to find someone. So like the way blueprint stealing works, I learned is that if you already have a technology or a higher tier of technology than somebody else, and you try and steal their technology, you'll just get a 10% bonus. But if it thinks you're behind, it'll give you a 300% bonus for that tech. So like if you're on the concentrated path or what it was, and the AI is researching dispersed, even though they're behind on like dispersed 1, it'll see that you don't have any dispersed ones. It'll give you a catch-up bonus, even though, and then you can use that for concentrated 3. Like someone did some testing, and that's the way blueprint stealing actually works. So to like get ahead, and then to get even more ahead by stealing some third world technology, you have to look for like a branch where this splits. So we'd want to steal from an AI country that's researching dispersed, is what I'm told. And that's why, like, probably the other games I have when I was trying to do blueprint stealing, we're just getting those like kind of shitty buffs. That's probably why. But we need to figure out who does dispersed, and we can't see their research, I don't think. Yeah, we don't have enough intel. Each 50%, which is like a pretty decent amount. I don't know. Let's try looking at the Ottomans. Probably doesn't hurt. We'll try looking at the Frenchies. I guess we're not allowed to. That's odd. Go to French Sudan. Like, this is highlighted. Like, why can't I click on it though? There we go. Okay, it was just hidden by someone else. So we'll see if we get lucky there. Got industrialization plan, and we need yeah. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So we need one more after that. We did industrialization plan. We'll go with civilian improvements. Put another civvy in Cairo. Let's also not to forget to micro volunteers. You know, again, people say there's nothing to do. Nothing to do early game. Oh shit, I think we might get encircled here. Concentrated. Pick up our next concentrated tech. No, we need to get out. Yeah, we did get encircled. Failed army coup in Tokyo. I got blueprint stealing. And I would like to get psychological warfare. We don't have enough factories for that. Let's just get the army department. We get a civilian department that'll help with stealing. French legation leaves Egypt. The news from Cairo travels faster than Farouk's assurances. French legation based in downtown Cairo has already begun its exit from the Egyptian government. The Minister of Archaeology, even the Minister of Education have all left the city. With them go decades of work enticing the West with Egypt myth and history. We shall have to find a way to replace them. We might lose this unit. It's unfortunate. I was a bit aggressive there. I didn't need to be. And we're gonna get punished for it here. Oh. Well, that's a mountain tile, though. I mean, mountain tile you can hold on for maybe a long time. Alright, we get a third operative. Greece has joined Belgrade Pact, so that's good for the Greeks. Thanks. Yikers. Misplayed that. Misplayed that. I did. I got civilian improvements. Let's get consumer goods factories, 32%. Get that. We can go for these other civilian factories over here. We can go for the military factory. Decisions. We don't really need recruitable population right now. I think I'm just going to pick up these extra civilian factories. So like that was actually like a pretty big mistake on my part. Can't really afford to, like, I mean, the manpower doesn't matter. We can't really afford to lose those guns. Stand over here. Fortunately, I guess now we're learning Ranger, which is, unfortunately probably not going to be as good as Hill Fighter. Dutch elections. And we're using this guy again here. It's learning Trickster. I guess you learn Trickster when you are attacked from multiple angles as well, not just when you're doing it. We'll just stand in their capital. I mean, they could just take this capital right now, but I guess the ad decides they don't want to do that. So we will sit in that capital. Or actually, you know, maybe over here would be nice to stand. That one would have been like a good war to farm. Now that I think about it, desert fox as well. Of course, we probably already have guys that have desert fox, so that's not a big deal. Replacing the French ministers. With this political vacuum, King Farouk has an opportunity to fill positions previously out of his reach. The Egyptian parliament has proposed several members of the Wafd party be appointed. These candidates still no doubt extend their secular pro-Western sentiment to their offices. Several associates in the Ithiad party have suggested that turning these offices into a unified ministry of propaganda could help unify the nation and help educate the populace about the glory of Egypt and the Muhammad dynasty. We'll let the Wafd appoint their ministers. Spring Flower Show. Farouk's sisters, Princess Fazia Fouad of Egypt and Princess Faika Fouad, have helped to inaugurate the Spring Flower Show in Cairo. The show, which began in June, has instantly proven to be rather popular among the people in Cairo, as they got to see the gardens and enjoy nature's beauty. Many are hoping that there will be another show next year. A new tradition is born. If we can get Trickster and Hillfighter on this guy, that could be like that's not gonna happen though. That's like not gonna happen. All right, let's see. Let's check over here. Admins. Finished researches require 70% intel. In the French Republic, we have 85%, so you can actually check. What did they do? So the French went concentrated. So they're not going to be a good target. Who is on France? You. We could try. Check the Germans, see what they did. Like Germany starts with an intelligence agency though, so they might be a bit tricky. The economic crisis has invigorated the Palestinian resistance once more, giving rise to increased demand for arms and support from our government. Old smuggling routes to the Sinai have been reactivated as the international gendarmerie force struggles to patrol its vast territory. Not only arms are being brought in, though, as the growing shortage of basic goods has forced many Palestinians to resort to the black market. We're seeing a steady stream of supplies from inside our territory. The whole rotten corpse we brought down from within. Okay. Colonial reform in Middle Africa. Of course, it's going to happen. I think we said those. I think we said those game rules, right? Let's try and let's check out the Ukrainians too, I guess. '53. Are we in the right spot? I think so. You know, like, might as well just stand there and take it. Hey, we're learning Trickster. It's a great skill to have. Trickster plus training trait equals improv expert. Which maybe is not all that important for the war we're gonna ultimately be fighting. Like Mountaineer and Hillfighter are pretty good though. Like, that's the terrain you're gonna be in. Ooh, we could make resistance contacts in the Ottomans. What is that? What does this op actually do? Following operation, strengthen resistance. That's pretty memey, actually. Maybe that's a good idea. We can strengthen resistance. I mean, Ottomans have lots of problems with resistance already. Like, we control them pretty hard. Control them pretty hard. Let's maybe start doing that, actually. Although I don't know. I would like to steal some technology. 50% in Germany. What do we have? 75% in Ukraine. Ukraine did disperse. So we can steal. Let's see if it works. Let's see if it works. So we'll go for who's on Ukraine right now. I think that's you here, right? So we'll go and we'll try to run the infiltrate civilian administration and get this. Lets us steal. I think we have to do an infiltration for the administration first to prepare. Yeah, steal industrial blueprints. So we will infiltrate the civilian administration. We'll see if that works. We'll get a crazy industry buff. That'd be nice. What else does Ukraine have? Do they have tools? Second tools researched? They do. But they don't have construction yet. So let's actually, like, instead of getting this construction tech, let's just get a truck first. Make sure yeah. I'm not sure if they're actually researching construction, though I imagine they would be. So we might screw ourselves there. That's difficult to say. Of course, if they have a tech that if they have a tech that you don't, that's how it works. Like, actually, we could just research construction there, and that would be fine. What am I thinking? This is okay. This is okay. It's like we just have to make sure we have the techs they have, and we do. Anniversary of the Arabi Revolt. Beginning in 1926, an annual parade through Alexandria and Kafr al-Dawar celebrating Ahmed Arabi has grown. Now a parade celebrating resistance to British imperialism is held in every major city. The man of the hour, Arabi himself, may never have lived to see a free Egypt, but his resistance to tyranny both outside and in still inspires millions today. Egypt celebrates their independence. So we got factories. We can go for the 2 military factories from the air tree. So let's go for that. And we sent an attaché already, so that's great. And Shandong Fleet is looking pretty thick this game. Start training. We might want that later. Coronation of Farouk. Today Farouk has been crowned as Sultan of Egypt and Sudan, sovereign of Nubia, Kordofan, and Darfur, in a majestic ceremony within the royal palace in Cairo. After his coronation, Farouk made a speech on the radio speaking directly to the Egyptian people, saying, "If it is God's will to lay on my shoulders at such an early age the responsibility of being Sultan, I, on my part, appreciate the duties that will be mine, and I am prepared for all sacrifices in the cause of my duty. My noble people, I am proud of you and your loyalty, and am confident in the future as I am in God. Let us work together. We shall be happy, successful, and prosperous. Long live the motherland and long live Egypt. Long live the Sultan." Oh, we got an XP. Like, we got an XP up there too. What about this guy? A little bit. Syndicalism prevails in Ukraine. Interesting. And we're still on mostly basic guns, which is a bit sad. Attack there. And the Chinese Revolution is defeated, okay. Good for the Indo-Chinese, I guess. Oh, so Shanking, 8 left KMT. Feels bad. Oh well. Yeah, fortunately we got more experience on Ranger than we did on Hillfighter. Get some more Hillfighter over there, though. Radio Free Palestine increases operations. Founded as a radio broadcast to rally public opinion against the MOJ and Jewish settlement in general, It has recently increased its operations dramatically as under-the-table dealings with the Ethiad Party have enabled it to set up further posts close to the border. Although the government denies all responsibility over the organization to foreign diplomats and of the port and the Jerusalem Accord's representatives, it is no secret that they tie into our government's designs in the Middle East and are used to focus and encourage Arab discontent in the Ottoman Empire. Is it not the Caliph who has sacrificed you so we could keep his crown? Okay. So let's see how that text dealing goes. It might also be interesting, like I mentioned there, like maybe we just try and troll the Sultan by just keeping on increasing resistance with our spies. That'd be pretty memey. That might also backfire too if you fire a bunch of revolts and they all get put down before your Kaiserreich war. Although if the trigger to start the war is resistance level, then farming a bunch of resistance in Jerusalem might be a way to rush that war. Alright, so we get our next concentrated. We will need trucks eventually, so we'll get trucks. Do we have light tank 2 yet? No, we just have light tank 1. Oh, we're catching up on Hillfighter pretty fast. We're actually getting a decent amount of trickster. Capital of Egypt. The question of the capital of Egypt has been brought up. The Pharaonists believe that to symbolize the new Egypt, the capital should be relocated to Alexandria, while the Islamists believe the current capital of Cairo is better and has always been Egypt's capital since the city's founding. Of course, we'll go to Alexandria because we want to LARP as the Pharaoh. Oh shit! I infiltrated the wrong country. Fuck. Fuck. I was supposed to infiltrate Ukraine. I'm throwing. What am I doing? Shit. Shit. Well, that sucks. That's another big mistake. I'm playing pretty sloppily today, guys. I'm sorry. We have enough experience to boost the doctrine too, so like maybe we'll do that with this tank slot. And the Nejd beat Jabal Shamar, so that's nice. Well, at least we'll get, who knows? Maybe the Ottomans maybe we'll get lucky and the Ottomans will have research dispersed industry. Otherwise, we'll have to go start trying to steal from Ukraine again. And we'll see if we can finally get that boost I've been chasing. Like if you watch my Russia video, my Germany video, we tried real hard to get those industry boosts from spies, and we just didn't get it. And I think that was why. But someone was kind enough to post on Reddit about that the testing they did. They looked at the code, and supposedly that's how you do it. You find someone who has the opposite industry tree as you. So it is a bit RNG on who you check. So we got that factory. Let's do some military investments. Alright, so you completed the infiltration. Does that give us more intel on their civilian? We have 90%, and they went concentrated, which is the same as us. Like that's not going to fly. So we still need to steal from Ukraine. Guess we can get intel from, I don't know. We'll stick with the Ottomans for now. Or you know what? Like I don't want our operatives. They're gonna do the mission to get captured, so we'll just do counterintelligence. And we need the one guy to stay in Ukraine to keep the network strength up. So 88 days. Farouk's royal marriage. The new sultan is not yet married, and though he is in a young marriage, and though he is young, a marriage must be arranged to secure the line of the throne. The government, regardless of ideology, does not want the throne falling to Abbas II should anything happen to a young sultan. Two choices are available: Safinaz Zulfikar, the daughter of the prominent nobility here in Egypt, and Al Bandari, the daughter of Abdulaziz Al Saud, leader of the Najd Emirate, who shall become the new sultana. Let's go with our own people, I guess. That's it? Farouk only gets two choices? I thought Farouk was like quite the playboy. I would think he would have more choices than that. Let's build two more and then we'll start building factories in Cairo, I guess. And what do I want to grab after here? What's I going to do? Doctrine. We picked up construction. We start researching a medium tank. Might want computing though, just because our research speed is so slow. But tech will help us. So we'll go with like maybe light tanks and cavalry, I guess. Should probably be okay. It's nice that they like to attack us in here. It's very nice. We're getting Hillfighter, and I think we're getting a little bit to Trickster when they're attacking us in there. Yeah, we're learning Trickster, so. Wonderful. We even got a level up, we got attack, so that's great. 1937 Egypt Cup Finals. Today, the 1937 Egyptian Cup has reached the final match between Al Mahri and Al Ali. The cup is being held in Alexandria and is packed as people watch two of the most popular football teams. Whoever wins, the game has given our people some diversion from their woes. For some reason, more faith in the government. Yeah, I always like, whenever I see a game of like sports ball or something like that, I definitely think, man, my government's awesome. Let me get eat again. Do you want to do this? Give us additional party popularity? Like, that would just give us more political power. And like, do we need the political power? No. That's like it's starting to build up quite a bit here though. It's like let's go up to limited conscription. How's our rifle count? We got 2K rifles, trading other units, Pahis. Today is a special day. Farouk and Safinaz Zulfikar have been wed in a lavish ceremony. To celebrate the joyous occasion, today is a day off from work throughout the Sultanate, and many within Cairo have turned out to see the lovely couple. As per custom, that Fuad the first established, she has taken the name Farida as she becomes Sultan of Egypt. They make a lovely couple, I guess. Sure, whatever. train those guys. You know what? Let's convert all of these guys over to our Sipahi's template. Al-Ali wins the 1937 Cup. Al-Ali has won the Cup with a score of 2-3. People throughout Cairo are celebrating as their team wins the Cup. What if that wasn't your team, though? Would you still be celebrating then? I don't know. We'll move on over here after that. Civilian investments, probably. We're going to start on the army reforms. Or we could do the third. We should probably do the Third Arab Congress. Like, next focus will be Third Arab Congress, actually. All right, you know, I'll delay it by one focus, and we'll grab this first. That'll let us unlock that. Give us a factory, and it'll unlock the company that helps us build factories and research stuff faster. So, like, that'll be nice. So if we go with the cavalry template, we're gonna get the buffs from that tree on our guys. Like, damn, we're getting veteran status on these guys. Fuck me. Hillfighter 50%, Trickster 33%. So I guess just standing in this tile is doing like wonders for us, isn't it? This is nice too, because the AI just wants to grind us. I don't really have to pay too much attention to it. Remember, halfway to having guns that are acceptable. So that's nice. Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like we are probably going to learn infantry leader. Or commando too, which is going to slow down our grind, but we have no, like, you have limited options of what you can do when you're grinding with volunteers and fighting a war. Sultana becomes honorary Girl Guide leader, with Sultan Farouk supporting the Egyptian Boy Scouts and being the first scout of Egypt. Sultana Farida has started making a more active role in the Girl Scouts of Egypt and supporting the organization and taking a more active role within the local communities. The move for Sultana to take a more active role in promoting and patronizing the Girl Guides has proven to be popular among Egyptian families, particularly the growing middle class and upper class families. We'll help the girls of Egypt and give us some more political power that we don't need. Alright, so we got our op on Ukraine done. Now let's steal some industrial. We need 3 people to do this. I thought we only needed 2. I think we need 3. Death of Joseph de Picciotto Bey. Today, Joseph de Picciotto Bey has passed away. Joseph de Picciotto Bey was a popular Jewish economic minister that was appointed to his cabinet after the Egyptian Revolution. His role as an economic advisor was important in helping stabilizing the credit of Egypt after independence. Interesting. Interesting indeed. Interesting is all this XP we're grabbing here. How close are we to our next? Not quite. Not quite close to our next level, but that's okay. It's time for the Third Arab Congress, which is that's gonna be a lot of reading. You can get wall of text into your boys. I don't even have to micro. We're getting grind. Wonderful. Third Arab Congress. After the First Arab Congress of 1913 in the buildings of the Parisian Société de Géographie, the Arab nationalist movement has seen a steady rise. Changing from initially reformist ideas ushered by its founders who wanted to tackle the status of Arab within the Ottoman Empire, the Second Arab Congress of 1927 showed the new direction of the wind was blowing. Hosted in Cairo just after the successful Egyptian Revolution and Ottoman betrayal of the Suez, the dialogue was now controlled by radicals and greater Arab nationalists. Members of Al-Fatah, Hashemite exiles, Algerian revolutionaries, Palestinian desperados. Okay? It's because I started the timer and the event timed out. Sorry, guys. I had to keep it paused. I want to. So I guess we don't get to read that. Iran sends a delegation. Despite not receiving an invitation to the conference in protest to the treatment of Khuzestan Arabs under the new government, Iran decided to send a delegation to Cairo. A protest in the streets of Cairo, organized by Iraqi political exiles with support from the Ittihad Party, was unable to deter Sultan Farouk I, who stressed the importance of Islamic solidarity in these trying times. After a short kerfuffle, the delegation was granted a seat at the table in the hopes of encouraging an open debate. We welcome the right honorable gentleman from Tehran, and people dislike us for that. Najd accepts our invite. As the inhabitants of the only other independent Arab state and within the port greatly interested As the inhabitants of the only other independent Arab state and with the port greatly interested in its dealings, the government of Saud bin Abdulaziz Al Saud has sent its representatives to Cairo. Interested to see whether we will turn our words into actions, an important member of the dynasty was sent with them to add gravitas to the discussion. Okay. Yemen sends representatives. Despite serving as a de jure part of the Sublime Porte and refusing to assist during the Arab Revolt of 1916, it is no secret that the Yemeni foster little warm feelings for their government in Constantinople. Imam Yahya al-Hamid has therefore sent his own representative to Cairo, despite a warning of the Porte not to do so. Unlike some of our other Arab allies, however, Yemen does not share our ambitions and remains focused inwards. Should the Ottoman government offer them a better deal than us, it would surprise no one that the Imam would bail on our plans. At least they came. Alright, we got the Opal Blitz. I think it might be a little bit greedy to start making those right now. And we will go to war, I think, pretty soon. Like 39 or something like that. We're not making sport equipment, so that's pointless. Like, we might want to start getting our gun upgrades, just make sure we have it. We could also go, let's actually go for a concentrated 3. It's good to have big industry. Let's get ourselves some reliability. Leader of the Senussi order and opponent of the Ottoman-backed Ahmed Sharif I, the exiled Idris has arrived in Cairo. Backing the Entente during the Weltkrieg in their struggles on Libyan ground, the leader of the Senussi order was forced to flee Egypt when the Italian front collapsed. By many Libyans, he is, however, still seen as the legitimate ruler of the nation, and over the years he has steadily been preparing resistance calls for his return. A true hero. So actually, before I forget, we'll get the delegation from Syria takes the floor. Representing the secret organizations of Beirut and Damascus, a variety of political exiles from Greater Syria region have attended the conference to attack Ottoman practices in their native home. The Palestinian issue featured most prominently in their speeches as they see the continued existence of the MOJ as a slap in the face of Muslims across the world. Syria has to be freed from Turkish tutelage, which serves nothing but the treasury of Abdul Masih II. Less radicalized speakers were also given the floor when even Maronite Arabs allowed to give their say on the matter. What's a Maronite Arab? I don't know. Preaching a dialogue between the various people of the greater Syrian region and even considering an arrangement with the Jewish settlers, the debate became quite heated. After a representative from Jaffa threw a sandal at his colleague from Aleppo, a short recess was announced and the perpetrator was removed from the room to support the Syrian people. No, Jing, more wars in China. Man, this tile is like making money for us though. 71% on Hillfighter. The delegation from Iraq takes the floor. After the speaker from Jerusalem finished his speech about the threat that Zionism poses to us all, the floor was granted to the delegation from Iraq announcing their support for our brethren in Palestine. They urged the people in the room not to ignore a second threat to the Arab people. The Iranian nation may be trying to paint itself as a friend of the Arabs, but it goes without saying that it only does so to weaken its rival in Anatolia and exploit Iraqi Arabs after the sand is settled. Before the representative from Mosul could finish his speech, however, the Iranian delegation rose up to protest against their accusations. Should we not focus on our common enemies instead of creating new ones before the first one has been dealt with? As the temperature in the room for the second time rapidly started rising, another brief recess was announced to a free and Arab Iraq. Ghazi bin Faisal attends conference. Son of Arab hero Faisal bin Hussein, who commanded the Hashemite forces during the revolt in 1916, Ghazi bin Faisal was sent to Egypt in 1920 by his grandfather Sharif Hussein when the Ottoman troops marched on Mecca. Taken under the wing of Fuad I, and the shy and inexperienced boy became a rallying point for Hashemite sympathizers who fled Hejaz when the Ottoman Wali was installed. Used to a life of luxury at the Egyptian court with his various escapades published in the papers, many Hijazi see him as disillusioned and removed from political realities of the region. His calls for a second Hijazi revolt in an Arab state stretching from Mecca to Baghdad, whilst very passionate and only briefly interrupted by a poem he wrote to honor his father, have been almost entirely disregarded by the other representatives. When the speech was finally over, all representatives clapped politely. We honor the Hashemite heroes, and we lose political power for that. The conference draws to an end. The sun sets on the Nile. Farouk I closes the conference with another speech thanking all representatives for their attendance. It is to all apparent what a formidable display of Egyptian power this really was. Arabs from all groups and social standings have come to be awed by the wealth of Egypt and revel in the freedom that its truly independent Arab state provides. Furthermore, Egypt was attempted to unite the different forces in the region and push them all towards an ideology most favorable to the Egyptian state itself. Look at those fireworks. It's nice for a boy Farouk, isn't it? We'll do the Liberate Cyrenaica. Like I said, I'm not sure, like, it's probably better to just do your army tree and not bother with this shit. But whatever. Farouk I condemns Zionist settlers. After hearing the tragic accounts of Palestinian Arabs suffering at the hands of international gendarmerie and seeing the latest data on Jewish immigration, Sultan Farouk I finally took to the stage, condemning the vile deeds his brothers of the faith had to endure. He promised the Syrian delegation his full support and promised that the Palestinian people would be soon liberated. A grand applause followed when all representatives gave him a standing ovation. News of his speech was received less well by the significant Jewish community in Egypt itself. These Jews who enjoy fairly good living conditions and political freedom under the Egyptian state are now afraid that this open attack on the Jewish menace in Palestine could send shockwaves in their direction. We support the Palestinian people. Idris pleads for help. After the speech of Farouk I, the conference has taken a different turn. The charade of a cultural conference to celebrate the Arab people has been replaced with the open discussion of actions to be undertaken against those that threaten the Arab people. The exiled Libyan leader Idris I has been building up support for well over a decade, and with Ottoman garrisons in Libya becoming careless as heated political debate overtakes the capital, he plans to strike within the year and oust Ahmed Sharif I. Hearing all the kind and passionate words from the other representatives, it is now time to turn these into guns, manpower, and donations to ensure his struggle is successful. I guess we'll support him. It didn't say that cost us anything, though. Egyptian ambitions. With representatives from all corners of the Arab world brought together in Cairo, the time has come to show our hands and dictate the course we will be setting. We have to thread carefully as a multitude of political groups and resistance cells when their operation relies on if we want to keep the Arab states united behind us after their liberation. We'll liberate the Arab people. I mean, I did the occupation in that other video, so that wasn't all that interesting, so we'll try this option this time. Egypt announces its goals. With representatives from all corners of the Arab world brought together in Cairo, Egypt has finally dropped the curtain on its grand designs. Promoting self-government amongst the Arab states, they will strive to retain the various constituents of Arabia as individual units that can decide their own whether to join a larger Arab state. Representatives from Iraq, Syria, and Hejaz are pleased that they will retain the right to determine their future, but on the peninsula, enthusiasm is far less high. Not only would they see no rewards from the participation in the war, but furthermore, they would have to contend with a powerful Hijazi state. This will be interesting to say the least. Oh, MOJ halts further Jewish immigration because the Muslims were protesting. That's pretty anti-Semitic, isn't it? Coup d'etat in Cairo. Farouk I was awoken to the sound of gunfire early today as a group of conspirators stormed the palace in an attempt to remove him from power. Calling themselves the Society of Justice, the group was planning to kill Farouk I and restore Abbas II to the throne. The last Ottoman Khedive, Abbas II, has recently seen an increase in popularity across the Muslim world as his Islamist ideas and history as leader of Egypt have given rise to various groups wishing for his return. Whilst adored by the people, Farouk I is less loved by his officer corps and government, who see in his desires for absolute control and his general lack of knowledge concerning statecraft a recipe for disaster. Okay, I mean, that's definitely not true. Farouk is the best leader, as evidenced by our real-life timeline. Nonetheless, the failed coup attempt has comes to the advantage of the Cairo regime, as the close relation between the Khedive and the Ottoman government has shifted public opinion squarely against the Turks. Farouk I himself has already called the attack in his life a vicious plan by the imperialist Turks to smother Arab independence, and has been heard taking an aggressive approach to the situation, calling for immediate sanctions on the Turks, with some even saying that there was a mention of war with the Porte. Turks will pay for this. I think that's just the same event again. Iran leaves the conference. I mean, this is a little bit late, isn't it? We're already doing Cyrenaica. As the final resolution of the conference seems to imply an independent Iraq free from Iranian influence, the Iranian delegation is left in anger. Whether this will impact their decision to take part in the war with Sublime Porte or, Allah forbid, take the Turkish side remains unclear, but has left a sour taste. They weren't invited anyhow. I'm sure those opportunist bastards will still join the war. The matter of socialist support. Through the contacts of the Arab lobby in Paris and the cautious cooperation between the Commune and Egypt following the Suez Crisis, many have started to wonder to which degree the Arab cause should be linked to that of the Internationale. The Internationale, which profits directly from rising Arab dissent in Algeria and the threat of the movement poses to German ally Anatolia, is more than interested to provide military equipment and advisors to gather efforts. Many fear, however, that there is a cost attached to these. Though a variety of economic deals closely linked to the oil trade, which has proven an important asset in the Communard war machine, they see Arabs being subdued to a new form of imperialism. Furthermore, the socialist rhetoric they sprout is a direct threat to Arab states who are built on rich and powerful aristocrats. We'll take their free military factory this time. We'll see if they actually does anything. General strike in Palestine. Organized by various Arab national committees, a general strike of all Arabs engaged in labor, transport, and shopkeeping has been called to force the departure of international forces. They want to keep the Jews out. I mean, that's pretty anti-Semitic. Prohibition of the transfer of territory from Arabs to Jews. Well, these guys just seem like a bunch of racists. We'll crack down heavily on any attempts to force his departure, and gendarmerie forces have already been sent to Jaffa to arrest possible ringleaders of the strike. May Allah bless their efforts. Are we the bad guys? Maybe we're the bad guys. Creation of the Cairo Pact. Enclosed in the final resolution of the conference, there is the promise by all attendants to join arms should any of them end up at war with the Turks. This resolution, which lays the foundation of a military alliance, has been called the Cairo Pact and marks the creation of the first such treaty in modern Arab history to a prosperous Arabia. We Cairo Pact now. Need more guns, though. Well, so Naj is going to war with the Muscat. Okay. The Busan Treaty. People's Republic of Argentina. 24 days on guns. Unfortunately, our army is a bit tiny. We did lose that one unit, which is oh, that sucks. 81% hill fighter though. We've liberated Cyrenaica. Let's do the get the naval dockyards. It's like I'll have to remember the spot. That's like a really nice tile to hold if this war happens. New Grand Imam of Al-Azhar University. The Grand Imam of Al-Azhar is one of the most prestigious and influential positions in Egypt. The fact that the Al-Azhar is one of the most prestigious and influential universities in Egypt helps to add to their influence. Today, though, a new Grand Imam must be chosen, and two leading contenders are naturally divided between the Pharaonist and Islamist camp. The Pharaonist candidate is Muhammad al-Zawahiri, who has earned praise for his efforts to support the university as well as his reformist ideals. The Islamist candidate is Mustafa Hassan Abdul Razak, who has earned praise for sparking a renaissance of Islamic philosophy within the university, as well as wanting to expand Islamic education throughout the realm. Whom shall be appointed as the next Grand Imam? Of course, we pick the market liberal guy. Canada invokes War Measures Act. Huh. 24 days. We'll see if that pays off. I actually don't know if I want to take that tile, and this is like, it's been a pretty good grinding spot so far. Let's actually make sure we pick up Recon Company if you're going to go for the armored recon strat. Bulgaria joins Donau Adriabund, so we've modernized repair facilities. This probably isn't necessary. Let's do the Radio Free Palestine. The bonus unrest. And offer a friendship from the Albanians. In an attempt to cultivate ties and further expand their influence on the world stage, the Albanians have approached us in hopes of deepening Albanian-Egyptian relations. Seeing as the royal family has Albanian origins, the fact that Albania is a Muslim nation and their common enmity towards the Ottomans is only natural that we accept their approach. Okay. I guess we're taking it. So we're going to lose our grind spot, which is a bit sad. Let's go to Sapahis. Here we go. We can get these guys like a veteran cavalry unit, that'd be nice too. And also, like, maybe if we stand in this tile, they might want to grind that one more. Coordinate within the peninsula. Young Men's Muslim Association. The Young Men's Muslim Association has recently been founded. The YMMA is rather